Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing on today? I am super duper excited. Guess who's back at the cafe? It is Tammye Huf. She is back with us, guys. Her new latest release, hot off the press, guys. It is called Inharmonious. Guys, this book is amazing. Let me tell you, do me a favor for me and Tammye. Like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to come on down to the cafe. It is a lunchtime special edition new release exclusive with author Tammye Huf on today. And we're talking all things Inharmonious. Guys, if you have not read this book, what are you waiting for? It is historical fiction at its finest. And of course, guys, we're going to allow Tammye Huf the opportunity to introduce herself to the people on today.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to be here. And Angela, thank you so much for having me on again. It's so great to be back. It's so great to see you again.
You're so welcome.
I'm Tammye Huf, author of Inharmonious and A More Perfect Union. And I am so excited that this book is finally out. It is a project of the heart. And I'm so pleased that I can share this with readers.
I love that. I love that. And of course, guys, let me just tell you, I'll give you a little bit of tea. Tammye and I was behind the scenes and I was sharing with her how much I absolutely love Inharmonious. Guys, this book, oh my goodness, is thought provoking. There are so many avenues that Tammye takes. And Tammye, I think I read somewhere that some of this is based on members of your family. Is that true?
Absolutely. The inspiration for the story, for the plot, for the main plot line comes from my grandmother and from my great uncle, her brother. So
Wow.
my grandmother, just to give you very quickly, she was she was a woman living at a time where women don't have a voice. Black women especially don't have a voice. And she was somebody who, when she saw things that were not right, when she saw injustice, she was not somebody who could sit with that and do nothing. And then my great uncle, he was very fair skinned. He was often, passed for white. And when he joined the military for World War II, he was mistaken again for white. And the officer in charge made him join as a white man so that he wouldn't be accused, the officer, of trying to desegregate the barracks, which were
Wow.
completely segregated at the time. And so he became white.
Wow. Oh my goodness. And guys, you're going to read a little bit about that in the story as well. Guys, if you're just joining us, let me just tell you, this is a literary cafe. You are definitely going to want to like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to come on down. We are hanging out with award-winning author Tammye Huf, guys. Her new book is called Inharmonious. And of course, Tammye, I'm holding up the cover. You know, I have to match the book cover. I did my best, my friend. Tell us a little bit about this cover, and when you received the final cover, what was that like for you as the author?
Yeah, the cover. I mean, I love the cover. I love the couple in the front. And I love that kind of World War II kind of vibes, and the lettering around it looks like a letter kind of around it.
It does, Tammye. I was going to ask you about that. I was like, it literally looks like an envelope, and their photo is on the envelope. I caught that, my friend.
Well done, well spotted. And when you read, well, you've read it, but when people read it, the correspondence, letters back and forth, are important. And you know what? At that time, there was no cell phones, there was no FaceTime, there was no Facebook, there was none of it. And so letters were actually really important and an important way to communicate. But yeah, no, when I got that cover in, the publishers had given me some options and we kind of worked together. And when we finally got the cover, when it finally sat, I was like, yeah, that's it. That's my book.
I love that. I love that. Now, Tammye, you know we have to ask about this title, okay? And guys, once you read the book, Inharmonious, it actually have kind of like a dual meaning. But Tammye, was that your original working title, my friend, or did it come later? Tell us a little bit about this title.
Yeah, the title. So the title actually did come later. My original working title was Double Consciousness, which comes from a
Really?
W.E.B. Du Bois quote talking about the double consciousness of a Black person in America, and that person you know yourself to be, and that person you're perceived to be, and that you're sort of these dual in two bodies. And so I had wanted double consciousness originally, and everybody in the publishing world had said, but it sounds like a thriller. Double consciousness, your average person will walk in, they'll see that title or hear that title, and they will assume it's a thriller, which is not. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess we need to change the title. So Inharmonious came because there was a lot of iteration back and forth, but it speaks to a couple of different levels of the book, which I like. So Inharmonious, we have at the core of the book a love story, or actually three love stories. And so there are these, it speaks to the characters, that inharmonious, wanting, not wanting, being able to, not being able to. And on another level, we have America, who's just joined World War II. So we have a country at war, and that speaks to a war that they were dragged into, like America, not like World War I, where America was like, okay, we're going to join. World War II, America was attacked at Pearl Harbor and kind of was shoved into the war. So a lot of people didn't actually want to be in the war, and we were in the war. So we've got that going on. And then we have this other level. We have these characters, these African-American characters who they want to support their country. They want to fight for their country. But at the same time, their country discriminates against them. Their country segregates, does not allow them full citizenship. And so there's like this conflict going on, this inharmonious idea of do we not? And then the final, where the word really came from was from the Federal Housing Association's underwriting manual. So back in the day, there was this underwriting manual that would tell banks and which loans would be underwritten by the federal housing authorities and which loans wouldn't. And any loan for inharmonious racial groups would not be underwritten. And so when I read that, I was actually so shocked to read that was official policy of the U.S. government, and back in the day, to officially not loan to allow Blacks into neighborhoods. And so that becomes significant later in the story without giving anything away.
It really does. Guys, let me just tell you, this book is amazing. If you have not gotten your hands on a copy of Inharmonious, let me just tell you, you need to run. It is literally a deer. It's a drop everything and read as well. Now, Tammye, I want to ask you this. You shared a little bit about, what inspired this book. I love the fact that this novel explores the emotional and psychological cost of passing. It also, I want you to tell us what drew you to that particular tension during World War II. And I know that you also shared with us that your uncle experienced that as well. But can you shed a little more light on that?
Yeah. I think because it's first of all, World War II is such an interesting topic, and so many of us have read quite a lot about it and are interested in it. But quite often we hear the same story or similar stories from a certain perspective. We rarely hear that story from an African-American perspective. And there were so many African-American people in World War II, essential to the war effort. And so that really interested me. And then this other element of passing in that kind of an environment, because it was an actual lived experience of this, this great uncle. But when you think about it, it's an all-encompassing thing. It's not just in that moment. It has so many knock-on effects to your family, to your romantic potential, and it's far-reaching. And so I was really interested in looking into what happens to a person, when their identity is kind of just plucked from them and they're put somewhere else. I really wanted to dig into that, and I find it fascinating, quite honestly.
Wow. Now, Tammye, before we dig into these characters that make up this amazing story, I want to talk a little bit about the book as a whole, because Inharmonious, it deals with loyalty, it deals with identity, love, survival. Which theme challenged you the most to write it authentically? Like when you deal with the loyalty, the identity, the love, the survival of this story.
Yeah. I think the thing that challenged me the most was probably dealing with many things. The survival is a challenge because you much of the history, to be honest, I didn't know, and it's
Wow.
sobering to be confronted with how much people of that generation did go through, how strong they had to be, how persistent
Yeah.
they had to be to really push through, and to create the changes that we enjoy today. We almost take for granted some of the things that they really had to fight for. So that survival, I think that was difficult for me to see. That you know it was difficult to see, but it was also encouraging to see, because you think, wow, sometimes you can feel a little frustrated with where we
Mm.
are today. But it's also then when you look back and see, well, actually, let's not forget how far we actually have come. So for
Wow.
me, it's frustrating, but also a little bit empowering, actually, to see, look what these people did, look what has been achieved. And yeah, I think that element was amazing to look at. It was frustrating and inspiring.
And Tammy, you mentioning that, I mean, the word that comes to my mind when I think about them is like resilience. I mean,
Mm,
literally resilience is the word that comes to mind. And feel free to, to share anything about that if resilience resonate with you too. But this book, Tammy, is historically like grounding. Okay. And so for you, can you tell us a little bit about the research that you did to capture the actual reality of these Black soldiers that was navigating a segregated military
yeah.
during World War II? Because some of the things that they had to go to or go through, I know when I was reading it, I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Mm,
We are in a war. Are you serious? I
yeah.
don't know, but for you, but tell us a little bit about that research to be able to bring some of those truths out
Yeah.
to how they was treated in this story.
Yeah, so I wound up doing quite a lot of research, and there's so much out there. That's the brilliant thing about it. At that time, you had Black newspapers, national Black newspapers, and there was so much written about the war and about the experiences of soldiers in those newspapers. Which, I mean, thankfully, we have digitalized versions of them that you can access. You can read them. That is fascinating. Also, nonfiction books I have read on the various groups, different things from the army. I mean, it's yeah, quite a lot of research. But one of the things that I did want to focus on when I chose which direction to go in with these soldiers. I don't know about you, but going into the project, I knew, for instance, about the Tuskegee Airmen, yeah, of World War II.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, and at first I thought I would do, something like this. Wasn't quite sure where I was going. But as I started to research World War II African Americans, I found out about the 761st Tank Battalion, which I had never heard of before. I found out
Wow.
about the 320th Barrage Balloon Battalion, which I had never heard of before. I found out about the 99th Battalion, the Buffalo Soldiers. And so through a bit of research, it opened up other avenues, and it helped create the direction of the story. And then once I knew where I was going, that no, I want to highlight these areas, then I could do a further deep dive. And as I say, just I read a lot of nonfiction books. Some of these battalions, there are books written on them, but not terribly well known. So it's out there if you want to look, but you have to look.
Wow. And Tammy, an amazing job that you did with your research and bringing it to us as well. Again, like I said, this book is historically grounding. Guys, if you're just joining us, as you can see, I am super duper excited. We are hanging out with Tammye Huf on today. Guys, her latest release is Inharmonious. It is hot off the press. It is available in ebook, it's available in print, it's available in audio. And let me just tell you, this is one that you want to read. It's historical fiction at its finest. And of course, guys, if you have a question or comment, I'll put it in the comment section as well. Now, Tammy, let's talk about these characters a little bit. Some of the characters that make up Inharmonious. I love the character development of these characters as well, guys. Let me just tell you, you literally will feel connected to them, and you will gain a relationship with them. I mean, when they hurt, you hurt. When they cry, you cry, as well. But you have Benny, and you have Lee, and you have Cora, and you have Roscoe. Each carry their own burdens and hopes throughout the story. Is there a character, or which character did you arrive to first? And is there a character that surprised you the most as you wrote them throughout the book? If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, definitely. There is a character. So I started with Benny and Cora.
Really?
Yeah, I started with Benny and Cora because that's the chunk of the story that's inspired by family. My grandmother has inspired the character of Cora, and
Uh-huh.
my great uncle is inspired the character of Benny.
Wow.
And so that's where I started. And then just as I developed story around them, then I realized, oh, I need Lee and I need Roscoe and I need Jasper, and I need Patsy and I need all these other people. But
Mm.
original the original two were Cora and Benny. And at first I thought I was going to write it from just those two point of views, Cora's and Benny's. And then I realized, no, to make this book richer, I need to add a few more viewpoints. And so then I added
Yeah.
you as a point of view character and Roscoe. And to answer your other question about which one surprised me, that would be Roscoe. Roscoe surprised me.
Really?
He did. I was going somewhere else with him. I mean, it's a funny thing that happens sometimes when you write. You have an idea, you might even have a plan, and then in the writing, as the characters become real people, they're like my little imaginary friends, which is kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
They become kind of real people, and as they become real as you're writing it, sometimes they go off in other directions other than what you've planned for them. So that was Roscoe. Roscoe is probably the one who surprised me the most, who went off the trail that I'd set for him, and found
Really?
a trail that was different but more true to who I had then written him to be.
Wow, guys, let me tell you, Tammye Huf is spilling some tea on today. We are talking about her new book, Inharmonious. Guys, this book is amazing as well. Now, we talked about that Roscoe is the character that surprised you as well. Now, let me ask you this. Is there a character that was like interesting, borderline fun for you to write throughout the story?
I think I really enjoy writing Lee. Yeah,
Okay.
I really enjoyed writing. I think because I have so much respect for him as a person. I mean, I know he's not a person, obviously. I know he's a character, but for me, he's a person, and I have so much respect for him as a person that whenever I got to spend time with him on the page, it was like such an enjoyable experience to sort of to write Lee, and
Wow.
to spend that
And
time with.
and Lee is such a um I want to say such a spirited
Mm,
character.
mhm.
I can definitely see how you enjoyed writing his character because he totally shows up on the page. And oh my goodness, all of the characters have
Yeah,
these moments that are like vulnerable and raw and rich and pull at your heartstring. That
yeah,
is like some of these characters have moments where you literally gasp. Or you literally hold your breath, or I'm an emotional reader, as you can see. I mean, but again, these characters are just so well developed. So thank
yeah.
you for doing that for each
Oh,
of the characters, and for each of the characters showing up on the page like only they can,
yeah,
as well. Now, I
yeah,
want to talk a little bit about one of these characters because one of these characters, Cora, and you
yeah,
probably say the same, she's literally at the center of so many of the choices and the decisions that are being made by these men. I mean, by Roscoe, by Lee, by Benny,
mhm.
as well. All these men that are surrounding her. What did you want readers to understand about her strength and her agency as she pertained to all of these characters and being such a pivotal moment in a lot of their lives?
Yeah. I think that you've hit the nail on the head, as they say, because I think women are pivotal in so many lives of people, full stop, but also especially men. And even though it's the men who go off to war, right? And Cora stays at home, it was so important for me to also stay with Cora at home and focus on that. And because I think in history, it is true that behind the scenes, especially on an emotional level, that women underpin so much of what happens in families, in relationships, in life. And so it was essential that so she did wind up being the kind of the emotional core of the story, which I think is true in general, that quite often the women in your life are the emotional core. So I wanted to be true to life in that respect, and give her the stage that I think that she deserved.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Now, I want to ask you this, and I'm going to give you three words, Tammye. And I
Hmm.
want for you to share with me what is like the first thing that comes to mind as it pertains to Inharmonious with these three words. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Love,
Okay.
loyalty, and complicated bonds.
Okay. Love. And you want a word for each, or am I allowed to?
No, just when you hear
Okay,
those
good.
three words together,
Love,
what
loyalty.
comes to mind?
Okay.
Love,
Loyalty.
loyalty, complicated bonds.
Yeah. I think the relationships come to mind
Mm.
first off between Cora and her brother Benny, and especially also between Cora and Lee, and also between Cora and Roscoe. There are love relationships all
Mhm.
around, and
Yeah,
there are complicated bonds all around, and it is and they're complicated because of loyalty. It would be so much easier if you said, right, that's it, I'm done, you're off. But because of love, because there are such strong emotions here, it's impossible to say, I wash my hands of you. And so that tension of, I don't, can't, well, you'll see what the tension is when you read the book. But definitely, and that's part of why what we were talking about before, about Cora being that emotional center of the book.
yeah,
Her relationships with the men and also the women in her life, with her mother,
yeah,
with her cousin, those relationships, also these female bonds, that is similar. It's just I think you've picked out three excellent words that really describe kind of the core emotions of what's
yeah,
in the
yeah.
story.
Yeah. And Tammye, oh my goodness, you hit on something. Speaking of relationships in this book, the relationships in this story are, oh my goodness, they're tender and they're messy and they're deeply human, okay? They are literally deeply human. But for you, how did you navigate writing love in a time of war and the racial tension? How did you balance that as a writer?
Yeah. I think it's so important to remember that love is such a strong and universal emotion. It happens at all times. It happens during times of, happy, easygoing life, but it also happens during time of oppression, during time of war, during times of strife. You still have love. You have these other things going on, and you still have love. And I think that that is one of the things that kind of lifts you and carries you forward when you're in a difficult moment, when you're in war, when you're in this situation. Having I think it's one of those things that keeps us human and that grounds
Yeah,
us. And I think it's so important that we are open to it. And that was important for me, for these characters, that yes, they're in, there's a war going on. And yes, there are all sorts of difficulties, but the capacity, the human capacity for love is tremendous.
yes,
Regardless of what anybody says you should or shouldn't do, you should or shouldn't love, some of the characters, the love is against the rules, if you will,
yeah.
in some situations. And despite all of that, people love. The rules don't matter. The rules don't matter when people's hearts are involved, and that was
Wow.
for me to also show that I think love is stronger. It's stronger than everything. You will not stop it, no matter
Wow.
what the external situation is, how much chaos you create. People still fall in love, and love still guides decisions that are made.
Listen, and guys, let me just tell you, sometimes love prevails. In Inhumonious, the things we do for love is like front and center in this book. Now, Tammye, before we kind of switch gears, we have to talk about the mom in this book. Tell us a little bit about her character and what was it like for you to bring her character to the forefront, because she was such a multifaceted type of person in her character. And there were so many things that rooted and even grounded the mom's decision and her behavior and the way that she reacted to things as well. Tell us a little bit about her character. And there's some pull at your heartstring moments for the mom too, but
Yeah. I love the mom character. She, I think, as with different, any generation, in her generation, she has experienced stuff, right? She is that bit older than her children, and she has experienced some stuff. In fact, I don't think I'm giving too much away if I say that she had lived in this book takes place in Florida. And she had lived in Rosewood. And for anybody
and
who
thank
doesn't,
you for bringing that part of history too. I love that you included that in the story.
yeah, absolutely. It's important that we don't forget these things. It's important that it's normal to talk about these things because it happened and we need to remember that it happened. So in the story, she had been in Rosewood and she had to flee when the massacre happened with a little toddler Benny and a baby Cora. And so and she loses her husband, she loses her house, she loses everything, and it's obviously a traumatic experience. And so much of how she interacts with society later is informed by that experience. There is that bit of that understanding of the danger that she brings into it, and that fear that you will never be able to really fully shed if you've gone through something like that. That her children, while they can understand it and they understand her, I think that's true often through the generations, that there is a bravery that's born of ignorance. I mean, I don't know who said the good thing. It's good that young people do things before they know that it's impossible, or whatever it is. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. That when you've been burnt, you are much more cautious, and when you have
Mm.
not, you are much braver and more ready to do something that might cause you problems. Might cause you problems. So we'll put it like that.
Wow. Wow. Guys, if you're just joining us, we're hanging out with Tammye Huf. Hot off the press, guys, it's her new release. It is called Inharmonious. We'll be sharing with you in just a bit how you can get your hands on a copy. And I know you're on the edge of your seat. Guess what, guys? Tammye Huf is getting ready to share with us just a little snippet, just a little bit of Inharmonious. Tammye, I'm going to allow you, my friend, to kind of set the scene, set the stage, and you can start reading. We are ready when you are, my friend.
Okay. Okay. So I will read a very short little snippet of Inharmonious, and this is a moment when we have Cora and Lee, and war has just broken out. Cora hates this war. She hates the idea of war. She understands that this country is not going to fight for her, and she doesn't understand why people, want to fight for it. And she's in a secret relationship with Lee. So we'll start right there. I can't believe this is happening, Lee said. Did you hear the president on the radio today? Yeah, she felt heavy, like her bones were weighted down by the news. I'm so sick of hearing about that damn war. Let's talk about something else. How was baseball practice? Not good. He leaned back with a sigh and took her hands. Everyone was distracted and on edge, just like everywhere else, I guess. It'll be better tomorrow. He put her hands to his mouth, kissed her fingertips, and grinned. I smell orange, he said. Has Loretta been feeding you from her tree? Cora nodded. Fresh picked oranges. Your favorite, he said. One day, when we get our own place, I'm going to plant you an orange tree. That sounds divine, she said, but her stomach fluttered with anxiety at the idea of having to first come clean about Lee to everyone. She dreaded what people would say after their date on Saturday and the church ladies' snickers, and Mama would throw a fit and a half with Aunt Teen egging her on. She hadn't noticed she'd tensed at the thought until Lee ran his hands over her arms, soothing her strain. The hurt look that pulled at his features confirmed he'd known what she was thinking. She wanted to kick herself for making him feel less than. It wasn't that she was ashamed of him. She just didn't feel strong enough to withstand the torrent of disapproval that would rain down on her. She knew she was being a coward, but she didn't know how to be stronger. I've been thinking, Lee said. He searched her face and rubbed her arms, and the longer he took to speak, the more anxious she grew. When he finally took a deep breath and said, I'm going to enlist, it seemed to Cora like the whole world collapsed. His words hung in the air like some foreign thing, as strange and incomprehensible as the faraway war. No, she said, her breath deepening and quickening as she struggled to control a rising panic. If I wait until they tell me to fight, it won't be the same thing. I need to do this. He ran his hands up and down her arms. It matters that it's my choice. Fear hooked into Cora's gut and pricked its way outward to her chest and down to her fingertips. You could get yourself killed. I'm not going to get killed, Cora. His voice sank to a flat, dismissive tone. I'll be fine. Too much air made her lightheaded. That's how they fight wars, Lee. The people on one side try to kill the people on the other side. Is that what you want to go do? He stood back, rigid, already changing from lover to soldier. I want to stand up and be counted, show what I'm made of, answer back for Pearl Harbor and for Hitler, for injustice. But why you, Lee? She came towards him, closing the gap he'd opened. Maybe I have something to prove, Lee said, his back stiffening with stubbornness. Her heart thundered in her chest at the thought of him rushing off to bombs and bullets. What did your Uncle Drew say about this? He understands. He reached for her, but his hands felt too heavy on her shoulders. Well, I don't, she said, balling his shirt in her fists. Her voice tipped into a whine, but she couldn't help it. I need to do this. She saw the clench of his jaw, the storm in his eyes. This is my chance. Please, Lee, stay here with me. Cora, he said, soft as a caress, but she heard the no in the deep throaty vowels wrapped in a sigh. He leaned in to kiss her, but she turned her head. With fear and heartbreak crystallizing to anger, she shoved him away from her and marched through the park back to the house.
Guys, let me tell you, that is just a snippet of Inharmonious. Oh my goodness. And thank you so much, Tammye, for sharing a snippet of your new release, Inharmonious. And of course, Tammye, we're going to switch gears a little bit, my friend. We're going to do a little bit of rapid fire. And so with this rapid fire, you may have to answer a question or either the first thing that comes to mind. Okay, first up, Benny, Lee, Cora, Orozco. Yeah. Whose voice came easiest for you to write?
Cora. I think maybe because she's the woman of the bunch, and so closer to me, maybe because she's inspired by my grandmother. And so I had a mental hook to link her to. Not sure, why exactly, but definitely I would say Cora's voice.
Okay.
And she was the first too. She's the first I wrote.
Wow. Okay, you ready? Roscoe in one word.
Frustrated.
Oh, I see it. Yes. When I'm thinking about reading the book, yes. Okay.
Benny. Striving.
Ooh, okay. All right. Identity, loyalty, or love. Which theme hit Tammye the hardest? Identity, loyalty, or love?
Love. I will say love.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. Because it's love that drives so much of what's going on. And even the loyalties in so many instances are driven by love as the background behind. I'm going to say love.
Wow. Okay, Tammye, this or that. And the thing about this or that is this or that Inharmonious edition. Okay. So I'm going to actually give you a character, and then I'm going to give you the this or that for that character.
Okay.
Benny, duty or identity?
Identity.
Ooh. Lee, heart or honor?
Oh, heart.
Ooh. Okay. Cora, strength or sacrifice?
Oof. Strength. I'm going to give her strength.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Thank you so much, Tammye. It has been amazing. And the time goes by so fast. Guys, we have been talking about Inharmonious. This book is a good one. And of course, guys, there is a giveaway on today. I'm going to let Tammye Huf share with you what her giveaway is going to be. Tammye?
So I'm giving away a free copy of Inharmonious to whoever is the lucky recipient. Yeah, I do hope
Yes.
you
And
enjoy.
Tammye, you're going to help me, my friend. We're going to go up and down the comment section. All you had to do to be in the running for this giveaway was to comment throughout the broadcast on today. And so, Tammye, you're going to tell me when to stop, and that person would be the winner of a autograph or a copy. I don't know if it's autograph, but a copy of Inharmonious. I am ready when you are, my friend.
Okay, and I'll say 3, 2, 1, stop.
Okay. Let's see. Did it come on the screen? Oh, 1 second. JV, you are the winner, my friend. If you will inbox me your information, we'll be sure to get that over to Tammye Huf for a copy of Inharmonious. I thank all of you guys for joining us on today. Now, of course, guys, Tammye is going to share with us how we can get our hands on a copy of Inharmonious. And as I said, it's available in all three formats. It's available in ebook, it's available in print, and it's available in audio. Tammye, how can we get our hands on a copy?
Bookstore. You can get a copy from anywhere that sells books. If it's your local Barnes and Noble, obviously, Amazon always. But any local independent bookstore, if they don't have it in, they can get it in very easily. Any bookstore, you can grab a physical copy. You can get an e-copy, electronic copy, anywhere where you get your ebooks, whether that's Kindle, whether that's Nook, whatever your platform of preference is. And the audiobook is available on Audible. At the moment, it's just exclusively on Audible. So the audiobook is available on Audible.
I love that, guys. Let me just tell you, run to your nearest indie bookstore, wherever books are sold, gets you a copy of Inharmonious. And guys, after you read it, leave a Tammye Huf a review for this amazing story. I know that she would be so appreciative of that as well. And Tammye, please share with us, how can we stay connected with you, my friend?
Oh, I would love to stay connected, everybody. Thank you so much. You can find me on Facebook, Tammye Huf, Tammyehuf. Oh, my name's right there. You can see that. You can find me on Instagram, same thing, Tammye Huf. You can visit my website and send me a little note in the comment section. You can send a little note. I love hearing from readers. And I love visiting book groups. If people are doing if you have a larger group reading the book, I love popping in and hearing what readers have to say. Absolutely love engaging with readers. So yeah, do stay in touch.
I love that. I love that. And of course, Tammye, my friend, we have to allow you the last words of what you want to say to the people today.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time. I really hope you love Inharmonious. This is such a book that's so important to me. It's a book of my heart. It's a book of history that really we all need to know. But it's a book of sacrifice. It's a book of love, and it's a book of love. Really, it's a book of love. So yeah, I hope you enjoy reading it, even half as much as I enjoyed writing it.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much again, Tammye, for hanging out with us on today, guys. Inharmonious, hot off the press. Definitely get you a copy. Not only that, guys, let me just tell you, tell a friend to tell a friend about this amazing story. And book clubs is an amazing book club read as well. Buddy, read it with someone as well. Tammye, again, thank you for joining us at the cafe, talking about your new book, Inharmonious, as well. And guys, as we always say, have an amazing day because we're having an amazing day. And until next time, we'll see you guys later at the cafe. Get a copy of Inharmonious. Bye bye.
Bye bye.